As part of the present administration's efforts to curtail the spread of coronavirus COVID-19 ravaging the country and the world at large, Edo State Ministry of Education, in collaboration with Edo Broadcasting Service (EBS) and Academic Staff Union of Secondary Schools (ASUSS), is organizing a television program for students in senior secondary schools, particularly those writing the West African Senior School Certificate Examination (WASE), the National Examination Council (NECO), and National Business and Technical Examination Board (NAPTEB) for the year 2020 in the months of May, June, and July. The program will be held on EBS television channel every day from 12 noon to 1 p.m. beginning from Monday, April 6, 2020. The subjects selected for these programs are Mondays Mathematics, Tuesdays English Language, Wednesdays Physics, Thursdays Biology, Fridays Geography, Saturdays Civic Education and Economics, and Sunday Chemistry. Parents and guardians are therefore advised to draw the attention of their children or wards to this opportunity during the stay-at-home period.
Good day, our viewers at home. Thank you. This is Mr. Eugene Okhide. Once again, I'm your physics tutor for the day. We met the last time and we discussed motion. We talked about motion being the change of the body's position with time, and we explained the types of motion, talking about your random motion, oscillatory motion, translational motion, rotation motion. And most importantly, we described another type of motion in quotes. I said it wasn't a type, but a description of motion, which was relative motion. We dealt with those segments in depth. And we went further to look at some of the concepts we use in discussing motion, among which we talked about position, we talked about distance, displacement, we talked about speed, velocity, acceleration, of course, time. All these we discussed in details. And we went further to discuss the various motion graph, where we discussed the distance time graph, which is a plot of your distance against time. We said such a motion, we could have uniform speed or non-uniform speed. We said the speed of such a graph is gotten from the slope of the graph. Similarly, for a displacement time graph, a plot of displacement against time, the slope of the graph connotes the velocity of that motion. Okay. We're discussing the velocity time graph, and we have 5 of these samples I'll show to you of our velocity time graph. As the name implies, a plot of velocity against the time. Such a graph is known as velocity time. I have 3 of them written here. Figure A, we have figure B, figure C, figure D, figure E. And I believe that a smart student will agree with me. If I am dealing with velocity time graph, just the same way we dealt with displacement time graph, and we are discussing velocity. Displacement time graph, we are discussing velocity. Like a displacement over time is velocity. That means a velocity over time should be what? Acceleration. So in a velocity time graph, we'll be discussing acceleration. I guess you with me. So we have various shapes our velocity time graph will take. In our figure A, for example, it connotes a body that is moving with uniform acceleration. It connotes a body moving with what? Uniform acceleration. As the name implies, please, when you see straight line they discuss uniformity, something that is constant. So figure A above describes a body moving with uniform acceleration. Please let me quickly say this. When a student is asked, we said before now acceleration is measured in meter per second. If we didn't mention it, note it, acceleration is measured in meter per second square. There's a square, meter per second square. So I want to ask, if I ask, what does it mean for a body to be moving with a uniform acceleration of 2 meters per second square? Please take note. We've said before now, acceleration talks about the increase in velocity. The increase in velocity. So a body is said to be moving with an acceleration of 2 meters per second square when it increases its velocity by 2 meters per second in every second. Please take note. A body moving with this acceleration means that the body is increasing. To accelerate means you are increasing. It means the body is adding 2 meters per second to its velocity in every second. In the first second, if the velocity was 4, after the first second it becomes what? 6. After the next second it becomes what? 8. That means as the second rolls by, it adds 2 meters per second to the value of its velocity. That is what we call uniform acceleration. So a simple definition, a body is said to be moving with uniform acceleration when the rate of change of its velocity is constant. When the rate of change of its velocity is constant, such a body is said to be moving with uniform acceleration. I believe the message is being passed. So in such situations, the graph gives us a straight line graph. Take note, this my graph is starting from the origin, from the rest position. That means the body started accelerating uniformly from rest. If I want to describe a scenario of a body that started with a given velocity, after a time it begins to what? Accelerate. The graph will not start from the origin. We'll have the graph connotes a body whose initial velocity was not 0. It has a value, u. When it starts from the origin, that means the body starts from rest. So please take note. Okay, let me quickly run through this so we'll pick some past questions. Now this one connotes uniform acceleration. This one connotes uniform deceleration. If you see the thing is dropping, decelerated and came to rest. Now this one connotes uniform velocity. Please take note. At this point in time, the body was not accelerating. So we have a straight line graph like this, which shows that velocity is not changing. So this is uniform velocity. Acceleration here is 0. Then the other two latter graph, figure D and E, connotes no uniform. We talked about no uniform before. This one is no uniform decreasing acceleration. This is no uniform increasing acceleration. Please take note, in both cases, velocity are changing. But this one, the rate at which the velocity is changing, keep decreasing. You add 5, the next second you are adding 4, the next second you are adding 3. You are accelerating but at a decreasing rate. This one, the rate at which you are accelerating keeps increasing. You added 2, the next second you are adding 3, the next second you are adding 4, and so on and so forth. So this connotes non-uniform decreasing acceleration, and this connotes non-uniform increasing acceleration. Please, let us quickly take a few fast questions. We have the first one. The time rate of increase in velocity is called, without wasting time, you know, you agree with me that the answer is acceleration. We have A, force, B, momentum, C, acceleration, D, speed. If you've been following us carefully, the answer is directly there, acceleration. Then we have the second one. The area under the velocity time graph, very important please, connotes, as we are discussing, please take note. When we draw a velocity time graph, the area under the figure we are describing is the distance traveled. We talked about the acceleration. So, in this my graph, what figure is this? is a triangle. So the distance traveled by such a body is the area of this shape. That is the area of the triangle, which will be half breadth times height. Please take note. We can deduce that from our velocity time graph. The area under the graph. If this is the graph I'm considering, the figure here looks like a rectangle, which will be length times breadth. So that will take care of the answer we have there. That the area of the lecture, I think I defined uniform acceleration to us. Then we have a calculation here, and it reads, as you can see from the screen, a car starts from rest and accelerates uniformly. A car starts from rest and accelerates uniformly for 20 seconds to attain a speed of 25 meters per second. It maintained this speed for 30 seconds before decelerating uniformly to rest. The total time for this journey is 60 seconds. The questions are as follows. Sketch a velocity time graph for the motion. Use the graph to determine the total distance traveled by the car, the deceleration of the car. Let's quickly take it. Very important. Sketch a velocity time graph of velocity against time. Let's interpret the question. A car starts from rest and accelerates uniformly for 20 seconds. That means to have started from rest, your initial velocity was what? 0. So we are starting from the origin. Start from rest, accelerated uniformly. Uniform acceleration connotes a straight line. And it took it 20 seconds. That means the time here is 20. That's the first phase of the motion. We're told, and attain a speed of 25 meters per second. That means the speed, okay, we use speed. No. 25 meters per second. That takes care of the value. After 20 seconds, the new speed is what? 25 meters per second. Starting from 0. Now, it went further to read. It maintained to have a straight line like this for another 30 seconds. Please take note. It will be wrong to put 30 here because the time is increasing. The last time was 20. This time now becomes 20 plus 30. That will give us 50. Here becomes 50. And we are told the body decelerated uniformly. That means a straight line down to rest. And the total time for that journey was 60 seconds. That means as at the time it's coming to rest, our time here is 60. My viewers, the first answer, question of the answer, show the velocity time graph. We've done it already. And as for random, lastly, they said we should calculate two things from the graph. Calculate the distance traveled and the deceleration. I said it when I was teaching. In case I omitted it, please note it. Like you said, the distance traveled is the area of the figure under the graph, while the acceleration or deceleration is the slope of the graph. So let's take the distance quickly. What figure is this? This is a trapezoid. So we are going to use the area of a what? Trapezoid. Alternatively, we can break it into three figures, which is a right angle, a triangle, a rectangle, and a what? Triangle. Whichever way gives us the what? Answer. So the total distance traveled is simply alpha says total distance is equal to area of a trapezoid. Mathematically, area of a trapezoid is half A plus B times height. Where the length from here to here is my A, the length from here to here is my what? B, and this is my what? Height. So my answer is as good as 1, 2. A becomes, please take note, here to here is 50, minus 20, which is what? 30. Plus 60 minus 0, which is what? 60. And the height, 25. When we solve this, 1 or 2 times 90 times 25. Of course, a quick one. 2 here, 45. So that means our answer becomes 45 times what? 25. We can simply do it solving. 5 times 5 is 25. Put on 5, carry 2. 5 times 4. 5 times 5, 25. Put down 5, carry 2. 5 times 4, 20. Plus the 2 carry becomes 22. 2 times 5, 10. Put down 0, carry 1. 2 times 4, 8. Plus that one, 9. That will give us 5, 2, and 11. Which means my total distance covered is 1125 meters, or we could say is 1.125 kilometers, as the case may be, expressed either in meters or in kilometers. And quickly, and lastly, we're asked to calculate the deceleration. If you look at your graph, the body begins to decelerate from this point. This is what connotes the deceleration, this straight line here. So we're going to find the slope of the graph considering this part. And if you look carefully, a right angle triangle has been drawn here already. We will trace this value here to be my S2, and the corresponding end of it here becomes my what? S1. And similarly, if this is my S2, the corresponding value here is my T2, and the correct deceleration. So that will give me deceleration as required is a change in the speed axis. The change in the speed axis, which is my 2 now, S2, 25 minus 0 all over. Please take note. We'll have 50 minus 60. That will give us 25 over minus 10. Automatically, it will give us 2.5 meter per second squared. There is a minus sign. The minus sign tells us it is deceleration. So you can see from our question, we've captured more than one velocity time. 1, 2, 3 is showing in the velocity time graph. That is why 4 basic physical quantities are involved in discussing the equations of motion. We have velocity, and velocity is in 2. It's 2. We have the initial velocity and the final velocity. Then we have acceleration because the body is accelerating at a rate A. After a given period of time, we have velocity, we have time, we have acceleration, and we also have distance, because such a body must have covered a given distance. So a body accelerating uniformly with an initial velocity, U, would attain a new velocity, which we call final velocity, V, after a given period of time, when it accelerates uniformly at a rate A. During which this interval, we say, the body also covered distance, S. You see? So the equations of motion will be showing these variables, U, V, T, A, and then S. Let's go. The first equation of motion is gotten simply from the definition of the concept of acceleration. If you had followed me carefully the other day, we said acceleration is the rate of change of what? Velocity. The time rate of change of velocity. That means my acceleration A is equal to the change in velocity, final velocity minus the initial velocity. That is V minus U all over time, T. If we cross multiply, this will give us 80 is equal to V minus U. Making V the subject of formula, U will cross over this way and the minus becomes positive. That will give me 80 plus U is equal to what? V. Therefore, the first equation of motion is out. That's our equation 1. V is equal to U plus 80. It's gotten from a simple definition of distance. From the formula distance, which we use at first, from speed. Speed is equal to distance over time. Therefore, distance, take note, I won't just use speed, but I will use average speed. Reason being that two speeds are what? Involved. We have the initial velocity and we have the what? Final velocity. So you don't take one and leave the other. Such situation, what do? You take the average. That's why our distance becomes average speed times what? Time. And very simple. Distance symbolizes as S will be equal to average speed. How do you get the average of two things? You sum over 2. That gives us U plus V over 2 times time. Before now, they don't recognize this as equation of motion, but now it's added to it as a fourth equation of motion. So I will call it the second equation here in our series of proof. Are we together? So the first equation, V is equal to U plus 80. We've also derived another one. S is equal to U plus V all over 2 times T. Let's look at the third one. Like I said, the third equation is gotten by substituting. We've already established that V is equal to U plus AT. Whenever I see V in the second equation, I will substitute it. By simple substitution, if we substitute equation 1 into equation 2, we will have, in place of V now, we're putting U plus AT. Collection of like terms. U plus U, 2U. Mathematically, this means 2U over 2 plus AT over 2. That will give us where 2 cancel out 2. And by the time you open your bracket, you will have to use T to multiply everything that is in the bracket. That will give us, that's the third equation of motion. And we just simply write it as S is equal to U T plus 1 over 2 half AT squared. If you write it this way and this way is the same thing. Okay, the last one. The last equation. If you observe carefully, you'll discover that in all of the equations, time has been appearing. It was there in the first one, it was there in the second one. There is T here, there is T here, and there is T in the last one. So it's time to eliminate T. By eliminating T, we will get the last equation of motion, which is from here. We have S is equal to U plus V over 2 bracket T. For my equation 1, we can make T the subject of a formula. Make T the subject of formula in equation 1 above. You agree with me that T will be equal to, from here, you cross multiply A constant. That means T is equal to V minus U over A. Substitute that into equation 2. This is my equation 2 here. S In place of t now, I'll be putting v minus u over a. Mathematically, to save time, if you expand this bracket, it's going to give us what I want to write down. But note it, this is u plus v bracket u minus v, difference of 2 squared. What's it talking about? If I have a minus b squared, this simply means a difference of 2 squared. So instead of writing the whole of this, that simply means v squared plus u, v squared minus u squared. Cross multiply. By the time we make v squared the sum of the formula, by u squared crossing to the other side, that will give us which is my last equation of motion. Please, very important. What is the essence of these equations? Students must get these things stored inside of them, because with this set of equations, you can tackle any problem that has to do with motion. We are going to take example, but probably not today. We'll solve lots of problems dealing with these equations of motion, a whole lot of them. So please, one thing I want to categorically stress into the mind of students is the fact that you must be familiar with these equations. I have taught you how to derive them. Even if you forget them, that means you can as well derive them on your own. These are the equations of motion for uniformly accelerating body along a straight path. Quickly, we'll refer to another motion. This is along a straight path. We have motion under gravity. Body that is either going up or what? Coming down. Such motions are referred to as motion under gravity. We use similar pairs of equations, but we are going to derive those equations. We are not deriving now. We're going to relate it, the equations of motion under gravity. The difference is just that when I'm dealing with gravity, I go up or I come down. My distance becomes height. Distance will change to what? Height. Then we must understand that we are no longer having linear acceleration, but we are having acceleration that is caused as a result of what? Gravitational pull, which is called acceleration due to gravity. And we use the symbol G. That makes it very interesting. What is acceleration due to gravity? If they ask students to define it, you don't just say it is the pull of the Earth's body, of a body towards the Earth. It's wrong. Acceleration due to gravity is not the pull of a body towards the Earth. That is gravitational force or gravity. Acceleration, as the name implies, is the increase or the change in velocity. So if you are asked to define acceleration due to gravity, it simply means the change in the velocity of a body as a result of the pull of the Earth. So please, let's take note as we relate it. These, like I said, are the equations of motion along a straight path. But when we are dealing with gravity now, I'm not going to waste too much time. These three equations becomes useful. We are going to transform this equation. So I'm going to do that so you understand it. You don't kill yourself over it. If you know this one, you know the others. It's just a transformation. The first equation, we also have V. Part of emphasis, please take note. When a body starts from rest, the initial velocity, u, is equal to 0. Then when the body comes to rest, you were moving before, that means you have an initial velocity, and you come to rest, your final velocity, v, is equal to 0. So most of these examination body trick us by using the word rest. When they use the word body start from rest, they've already given you initial velocity. Or a body comes to rest, they've already given you final velocity. So you should know that. Then when the body is moving with uniform speed, or with a constant speed or velocity, that tells you acceleration is equal to 0 because there is no change in what? Velocity. I've dwelled much on that before now. Similarly, when I hold this pen or marker and I throw it, I am giving it, I'm applying a force, so it has a velocity. It will travel with that velocity against the pull of gravity. That means rather than accelerating, it begins to what? Decelerate. As it's going up, as it's traveling upwards, the velocity will be reducing. It's wrestling against gravity. And as it journeys up, it gets to a point, the velocity reduces and becomes 0. That means it can no longer go further. That is the highest height it could get to. So when a body gets to maximum height, as we talk about gravity, note it. When a body gets to maximum height, its final velocity at that point in time is 0. When a body is released, for example, a mango fruit drops from the mango. As at the point where it's at that height, it has no velocity. When it's released, that means our initial velocity from that height is what? 0. When it's released, it begins to what? Accelerate downward at the rate acceleration due to gravity, which differs with location. Those in Nigeria are G, and those in UK will not be the same because of our location from the equator. I'll stop at that. So, what then are now the equations of motion under gravity? V remains, there's a final velocity. U remains, there is an initial velocity. But note it, I'm going to use plus or minus. The sign we are going to choose differs. Either you're using plus or you're using minus. I'm going to dwell a little bit on that. My A now becomes G because it's no longer a linear acceleration, but acceleration due to gravity. That gives me GT. The same equation. G just changed, A just changed to what? T. Similarly, like I said, S here connotes distance. When you are moving under gravity, your distance is your what? Height. My height is the distance of my head to my what? Feet. So S now will now be changing to what? Height. So we'll have H. Did I use capital, small letter? Says no problem. Is equal to UT. Remember, plus or what? Minus. Yeah, now we now have half. My A becomes what? G. GT squared. The last equation, without being told, V squared is equal to U squared plus or minus 2G. These, so I guess you can answer the difference. This set of equations is for linear motion, rectilinear along a straight path. These ones are equations of motion due to what? Gravity. Either you're going up or you're what? Coming down. So note it. I addressed it before. I said when you are going up, you are decelerating. That means you are moving against gravity. That's when you use the negative set. The set of equation becomes, all my side here becomes negative because I am going up. When I'm coming down, I am accelerating downward. So we use positive. We use positive for downward movement and we use negative for upward movement. These are the equations of motion. For linear, for gravity. So, we'll have to take some few examples. Okay. Let's take a sample question from our past questions. We'll take a sample question from our past questions. Now please take note. Physics is very simple. Calculation in physics is very simple. It only requires you showing some level of understanding and maturity. So before you try to solve a physics problem, try internalize the question and create a mental picture of what the question is all about. When you are good to go with this, then it means it's as easy as 1 plus 1 equals 2. Let's look at the question. So I want you to read it carefully on your own and internalize the question before I start explaining the solution to this question. A body starts from rest and travels distances of 120, 300, and 180 meters in successive equal time intervals of 12 seconds. During each interval, the body is uniformly accelerated. Calculate the velocity of the body at the end of each successive time interval. Then 2, we are asked to sketch the velocity time graph for the motion. Every intelligent and smart student will know that this question is describing uniform accelerated motion that is in phases, or what I would call stages. And as the question implies, he traveled 120 meters. That's what? Distance. At what interval? Time 12 seconds. Because we said successive equal time intervals of 12 seconds. That means the first journey was made in 12 seconds. The second journey was also made in 12 seconds. The third journey was made in 12 seconds. So before you solve physics problems, you learn to list the given parameters. When you know the given parameters and what you are looking for, that will guide you which of the equation will best suit your problem. And now we have the first one. So I'm going to take it stage by stage because we're asked to calculate the velocity of the bodies at the end of each successive time interval. Notice. Stage 1. What were we given? The body starts from rest. You see how deceptive it could be? I told you, when you say body starts from rest, they've given you the initial velocity. For stage 1, we're given initial velocity. Symbolizes as u, and that's what? 0 meters per second. What else are we given? We're given the distance that was covered. What 20 meters. And what else are we given? The time. These are the first information given. But we're asked to find its velocity. That means we are looking for the final velocity after this time interval. I use a question mark. Final velocity, v is unknown. So what do we do at this point in time? Recall the relevant formula. I've given you 4 equations of motion that could help. So which one do you think we can use if we record them together? We have v, we have so which of this formula is relevant based on what we are looking for and the things we are given? We know u, we know s, we know t, we are looking for what? V. U, there is no s here, so this is gone. This 3 carries s. So which is the most important to us? We have s, we have u, we have v, we have t. So you see, this is a relevant formula. We can't use this, because we don't know acceleration. So we'll be dealing with 2, there's even no v here. We'll be dealing with 2 unknowns if we are using this one, v and a. So simply without wasting time, the relevant formula to this problem is s is equal to what? U plus v. Recall. Don't forget, we are looking for v. We substitute to save time and make v the subject of the formula. S therefore, u is 0, very direct. 0 plus v is v over 2. When you open the bracket, that's 12v over 2. Of course, 2 here 1, 2 into here 6. Therefore, (120 over 6). 6 into 12 is 2. We've gotten the final velocity for stage 1, because that's what we asked for stage 1, stage 2, and stage 3. Please, my wonderful viewers, you must note this. This is where the deception of the question comes into play now. Successive stage, the first stage we've gotten. What is now the given parameters for the second stage? I am with you. The first question I'll ask you. Were we given the initial velocity for the second stage? Some will say yes, 0. No, it's not 0. The final velocity of the first stage becomes the initial velocity of the second stage, because as at the point in time he wants to accelerate the second time, its velocity was already 20 meters per second. So for stage 2, you've already defined them, u, v, and f. So I'll just simply use u becomes what? 20 meters per second. S is what? 300 in the question. T is what? 12. And we are asked to look for what? V. So the question is as good as one. We are using the same formula, the relevant formula. Uncle, you made a mistake. You use v plus u plus v all over 2. No, we are on course. As far as the sign there is plus, anyone can count first. So it could be v plus u over 2 or u plus v. So that means 300 is equal to v, I don't know, times 12. Please take note. All like the first one, I just simply said 12v over 2. No, we can't do that. This is v plus u. So we have to break it down. That is v. I can cancel here. Easy that way. So what do we do? We'll divide both sides by 6 so that we'll have v plus u this way. Of course, 6 can go into 30. That gives us 5. I'm pretty sure we're good to go. When we make v the side of formula, 20 goes the other way. Therefore, we're done with the velocity of the second stage. We start without wasting much time. Let's quickly round up. My S on the first one, the last stage, is 1. Follow the same procedure because it's identical. S Funny enough, I'm no longer talking because you're already playing with me. The procedure is done, and so we're using time 12 here to 180 is equal to V 180 over 6 is equal to V plus 30. 6 into 18 is 3. 1, 3, 0. So I will have, interestingly, 30 is equal to V plus 30, isn't it? Making V the same of the formula, we'll have V is equal to 0 meter per second. Quite an interesting question. As for random, we're told to sketch the velocity time graph, which we have dealt with extensively. Velocity time graph, we said, is a plot of velocity against time. But look at how unique this graph will look like. We have various velocities. How many velocities? 1, 2, and what? 3. Against time. So, we have our graph. Velocity against time. I'll simply draw. Interesting. What was our initial velocity? 0. So we are starting our graph from the origin. 0. From the very beginning, the initial velocity was 0. We're told it accelerated uniformly for 12 seconds. Uniform acceleration means straight line. So we use a straight line for 12 seconds. That becomes 12. Attaining a velocity 20. It accelerated again uniformly for another 12 seconds, but not at the same rate. So we are not going to continue. We'll go like this. Another acceleration. Take note, my time is no longer 12, but what? 24. 12 plus 12 makes it 24. Then, see the beauty of this question. They didn't tell us it came to rest. But the question, our solvent has informed us that the other acceleration was not acceleration, but a deceleration, because the thing came to what? Rest. Our final velocity is 0. So that means the body comes to rest. The time becomes 24 plus 40. Good. End of plotting the velocity time graph for this one. Quite interesting and quite simple. I believe viewers at home, you have a better understanding to what we've done today. When next I will meet with you, we'll look at projectile, an interesting part of physics, which encompasses these two motions we've discussed in one. I know some of you had questions. I want to quickly react to that. Somebody asked me a very wonderful question after my last class, and I told him to be patient. We need to cover such topics, so he can do it on his own. And I'll make reference to your question when that time comes. Thank you very much.